Good evening to all of you. Welcome to tonight's Division 2 race. It is round 7, Season 6 of SSRL's Division 2, of course, in its second iteration, but of course, we still count seasons. And, well, tonight, admins are hoping for a cleaner start than we saw last night. Of course, remember, a huge pile-up just after the start for this straight. We did not even make it to turn 1, which caused a controversial restart. So, admin's hoping for less of that tonight. Just a more cleaner race start. But okay, let's have a look at your calendar thus far. So, next week is the Mystery Grand Prix, but tonight, of course, we are all in Spain. And as we've said before, and then, of course, break there from Mystery Grand Prix next week, and then it'll be Italy and the Netherlands after Quincy's trip to the USA. I'm not jealous, really. Drivers' standings look like this going into tonight. Might need some small adjusting there, just so you can see all the information available. It is not Bards in the lead, I promise you that. There you go, there it is. Quincy now with a 37-point gap, but he is away at a football match. He has gone to betray SSRL and watch Portsmouth versus Reading. So he is not with us, so Pleasant Stake might have a chance here, if he is attending tonight, to actually gain some points. And a lot of points he did lose last week, as you can see there. Of course, a 12-point gap after no attending for the previous couple of weeks. So Pleasant Stake having a chance here, but he will have to watch out because Energetic, Race Chase and Truckster rounding out that top 5. And very close together, only 12 points separating them. So that is very tight in its own right. And Truckster, remember, got disconnected not too long ago, and in Spa that was, and lost big points there thanks to that. But then rounding out your top 10 is Tabran, Nosebo, Kavachka, Toby, and Eugene. And then we'll have a look at the correct order now. It is Bards, Tarkangino, Skid Solo, ADS, and Quan, rounding out your top 15. And then from 16th to 20th, it's Devsy, Sorobo, Sveda, Emin, and Bruiser. In your constructors' standings, well, after the big gain from McLaren last week, it is now a 4-point gap that Mercedes hold on to. And of course, with Quincy not attending tonight, well, luck might be just on their side. It is going to be we're going to be monitoring that very closely. We have the points right here on a sheet so that we can keep you up to date live. So remember, those two are going to be very, very tasty. Going into the final few rounds now. Then it's Racing Bulls, Williams and Ferrari rounding out your top 5. Racing Bulls just looking for a comfortable gap, while the Williams and the Ferrari fighting it out for that one position. Then it's Haas, Red Bull, Aston Martin and Alpine only separated by 6 points. So of course, again, another battle to monitor very closely there. So 6th, 9th to 6th. 6 points there, but the Sauber very lonely there. Actually got their best result, as you can see in Hungary. 9 points shared. Well, at least one of their better. That is their best result to date. 9 points taken away from Hungary, and that gets them into the high 20s. But now we are just waiting for things to get underway here, and they are most certainly will be in about 20 seconds time. But to introduce the track here, it is the Circuit de Catalunya. Well, a length of 14 turns. Well, sorry, 14 turns on the track at a length of 4.6 kilometers, which equals about 2.8 miles. The race lap record held around here is by Max Verstappen with a 1:16.330, which was done in the RB19 in 2023. That dominant season. Those dominant couple of seasons, he was absolutely unstoppable. But the track was opened back in 1991. And, of course, held its debut Grand Prix that same year and has been a permanent Grand Prix since that year. The circuit has been through 6 changes from its opening due to F1 cars becoming more reliant on the aerodynamics. So the overtaking became, unfortunately, very stale. So what the Spanish organisers decided to do was add a chicane instead of those long sweeping right-handers that you're used to seeing. And that, well, to everyone's opinion, made everything worse. And so I think it was from 2024 to now, we have returned to the original sweepers. And I don't think there have been many complaints, but now there will most certainly be a complaint looking at tonight, because we are starting in a full wet qualifying, and maybe that might be the one thing that saves Quincy's championship lead. Remember, 37 points. no attendance from him. Of course, remember we alluded to earlier about a football game, but what I'm certainly looking out for will be how the Kick Saubers respond to their best weekend last week. Both their full-time drivers in the cockpit for tonight as we just get qualifying underway, taking 9 points out of Hungary last time out. And then, of course, Red Dog will be in here too, but I do believe he is reserved, so no points for the Aston Martin. That will have to come from Eugene, but already challenging conditions here. Now, don't expect anyone to come out in the first minute. Usually, it's going to be everybody getting their setups together for the last time. As soon as you're out of the pit lane, Park Ferme is in effect, which means you are limited to what you can set up in the car, and everything there is mostly fixed, especially your rear wings. You can only, you can only adjust tire pressures and your front wing, if I have remembered that correctly. If somebody does want to correct me on that, feel free and go ahead. It's one of the Kick Saubers leading the field of 16 cars behind them, and that will be Skid Solo. Now, looking at Skid Solo, qualified 13th, got 3 positions and was able to finish 10th. And, of course, compared to last week's Hungary race in Division 1, well, Division 2 only had 1 DNF, but 2 drivers finishing 3 laps down. That was Evan and Bruiser. Is Bruiser with us tonight? He indeed is. He's currently top of the timing board, so no time set as of right now. But he'll be one looking to just actually try maybe finishing on the lead lap. When you're trying to improve your pace, it's usually better to just go one by one. If I can do this one thing right, then I think I can start looking at doing the rest of my racecraft correctly going forward. And of course, I think there is a very cliche but very correct saying in motor racing: in order to finish first you must finish. And certainly a lot of people in sim racing would take inspiration from that. Of course, usually there's a couple exceptions to the rule and context to be considered. Now, in this full wet qualifying, we didn't have this situation yesterday, so a lot of drivers are going to be finding where the grip is, and, well, will it dry out throughout the qualifying as well? That'll be another thing to consider. I don't really see any gaps in the clouds, just looking at the sky there in game. So, well, this is going to mean that drivers are very vulnerable to invalidating laps. Remember, going across that right line invalidates your lap, and if you do it through the final sweepers as well, that invalidates your current lap as well as your next lap. So you actually cancel out 2 flyers if you're unlucky, or if you're on an out lap, that's 1 flyer gone. So, there you go, Skid Solo in these treacherous conditions that nobody would have wanted to have qualified on, I can guarantee you that. So now this is a very careful corner now. You have to be so careful on the throttle, and you can see how he's struggling with the rear end of the car. Lots of oversteer in the wet here. Just like the car looking very lively and just no grip on it. Remember, these tyres are not used for grip. It is to simply move moisture away from the surface. They are not there to be... You don't really want to heat these tyres up. You want to keep them as cool as possible, because then the rubber doesn't melt, and then you can keep the tread on them. So here we go. Now, that's very slow there through Worth there. And no real surprises there, considering, you know, the slipping conditions of the track. Yeah, it's definitely difficult, I would say. Anybody risking this on intermediates are being very brave. And in fact, it's a... Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers braving the intermediate tyres. All the rest are on full wets. But Skid Solo will be the first to cross the line. He's been the better of the Kick Sauber teammates. Cerebro usually on the cuff of the points in all of his races. Are we expecting reverse grid again today? No. No, I think I've learnt my lesson. I will save that for another day. But anyway, Skid Solo to the line. That's a 1:33.371. And we'll see how the time's coming. But also, I really want to see how the intermediate runner is comparing. Let's have a look at Race Chase here. Of course, one of the 6 intermediate runners. And actually, it's looking like he's got a bit of pace. As fellow Sun there, up to the top with a 1:29.589. So great stuff from the Hungarian driver. So the intermediates look to be faster, but then Race Chase will come across the line, and there'll be a few patches of grip that the McLaren can take advantage of. It's going to be 3rd place, a 1:30.327. And of course, fellow Sun reserving for Quincy tonight, so he won't be able to score points for the McLaren. So it's Pleasant Slake and Tabran, who of course are the full-timers in that team, so they'll definitely have the edge on McLaren initially. And, well, Herman really criticised the Mercedes team for their strategy last night, but well, last week, beg your pardon. But this time, they're actually doing something rather smart. They've sent Tabran out on a full wet, and he's set a 130.5. But then Pleasant Snake has gone out on an intermediate to see if he can go faster. And that's smart there. Like, you know, delegating who has which tyre just to see which one is faster. Especially in qualifying in these conditions at this early stage as well. You've got the time to play around and you've got to see which one is faster. And then you can get the second driver onto the faster tyre, whichever one that may be. Or the first driver, just depending on how it works within the team. We're going to see Pleasant Snake come towards the line now, and of course, remember, started the evening 37 points behind Quincy, and has a chance to make that gap even less, and that's Pleasant Snake with a 132, 178, so within the Mercedes garage here, the full wets are faster, although I do find that very strange, just fellow son there with another fastest lap, 128.7, with Truckster taking a 123.29.3, beg your pardon. Truckster in the Williams going second fastest. And then fellow son blowing his time out, and he will be the first into the 128. So the track is definitely getting faster. Intermediate seem to be the way to go. So Pleasant Snake struggling with something here in the wet. He's already a second faster in Sector 1, so I just wonder if he cooled that down. Let's go on board and just see the difference between Skid Solo's lap and Pleasant Snake's lap there. And, well, that's very slow going through. That is Sayat there. And then into Worth through here, and is creepishly slow. That is creeping out the corner. It's going to be a slow in, fast out technique there, although that is extremely slow, but now invalidates the lap going through onto Campsa. So that'll be the end of Pleasant Snake's flying lap for the time being, but let's see who else is on a flyer. It's no Sebo on full wet, but what about Energetic here? He's just coming through the final few corners now. He'll be approaching those sweepers in a couple of moments' time. It's Europe Car and New Holland. So this is Europe Car. Stays within track limits, and then New Holland through here onto the start finish straight. Let's see what he can do. Of course, no DRS in qualifying, and that's going to be 6th place for the Racing Bulls driver. And let's see who is next across the line. It's either going to be Kovachka. Oh, fellow son was next across the line. He's now continuing into the 127s, now 1.3 seconds away from Eugene, who just took away second from the Williams, and then Red Dog, the other Aston Martin, takes away third from Truckster again, and now Truckster is on another flyer, but he was 3.5 seconds down. He's still on full wets with just over 10 minutes to go. But here we go. Eugene is still on improving on his lap. He's just gone 1.5 tenths faster through Sector 1 as well. So let's stick with this one and see what Eugene can do. And he's certainly looking a bit more pacey. He's using more of the track, unlike Snake and Skidsella that we've been seeing earlier on through Worth. As Tabran now up into second there, and he's on full wet tyres. Remember, we may not see the top 8 come into the pits again. No Sebo there, up into 9th, 131.511 there. But look at Eugene here. He's improved in both sectors. Remember, the sector times, whether positive or negative, are only comparing to the driver's personal best, not the overall session best, unless if you're looking at the leader and he's looking at an improvement. And I think Eugene just had a moment there coming out of Bank Sabadell. So I don't know if this is going to be much of an improvement, but then again, as soon as I say that, that is a 128.817. So actually not bad stuff there. As fellow Sun VR is going to come to line as Pleasant Snake there finds a 128.1. So he must have had to take a bit of time to get those intermediates up to temperature, well, up to working order, but he has made that work. So not bad stuff there from the Mercedes. They are now second and fourth. Both are full-time drivers in their own right, but we are still waiting for times from Vincenzo and Bruzo. Of course, Vincenzo full-time in Division 1, so he will not be setting a representative. Well, he will not be scoring points for the Ferrari team in this race. Of course, a very tight the constructors' battle up and down the field is very tight, as we alluded to earlier on. 9th and 6th, separated by 6 points, as Kovachka invalidates the lap. So it's the Ferrari of Krantjorg next across the line, but he's on an out lap, so this will not count. I wonder, is that Pleasant Snake or no? It's Tabran into the pits. 8.5 minutes to go, and we will soon see what happens to him. He should be on to intermediate sooner rather than later. Pleasant Snake going very quick, as his fellow son actually. Oh, but fellow son having a bit of a moment through Campsa, and well, he's going to lose a few tenths there. I am certain of that. And yes, 8 tenths down in Sector 2, so I think he is going to rightfully abandon that. But Pleasant Snake here is just now approaching the final few corners of his lap. He'll be going through the sweepers in just a few moments' time. Here's Europe car, and then New Holland next, but straight into the pit lane for the Mercedes drivers. Eugene there, just fresh across the line. 128.298. Nearly half a second separating the top three. But Energetic here still on, well, has begun another flying lap here. So we'll keep an eye on the VCARB driver. There's a few drivers coming to the line now. I think Toby is next, and he's gone 2 seconds faster. 130.5 with from a 132, but no positional improvement there. 130.5 is 3 tenths behind Race Chaser. Race Chaser won't be happy with this, but then he gets himself up into the 129s with a 129.179. So great stuff from the McLarens so far, but Mercedes currently having the better look. Both drivers are in point scoring positions, at least 1 foot in front of the door for these two teams. 7 minutes to go in qualifying. We are currently looking at Fellow Sun on pole and Energetic here on a flying lap, currently fourth with a 128.5, 8 tenths on the dot away from the pole position time, and he's just found over 4.5 tenths in Sector 2. The Racing Bulls driver, of course, trying to keep his team in third place. Pressure, well, a little bit of pressure coming from the Williams squad. Coming into this, of course, he would just need to be ahead of Trugster. Williams are only behind by, I think, no, it's 27-point gap, and Williams are probably more worried about the Ferrari team not having a good day of it. As Energetic up to second there, so all of a sudden a lot more work for the Williams team to do. Vincenzo also out on a flyer, one of the two that haven't set a lap, but looking very sideways, going through Renault there. As now, he is just going through, what is this one? Repsol. And currently the driver in last with no time. But of course, remember, don't ignore those purple times. They are only comparing to the fact that Vincenzo hasn't set a fastest lap. And if he does go fastest, well then, that would be a miracle for the Ferrari team. But remember, as Vincenzo is a reserve and full-time in Division 1 in the Haas team, he will not be scoring points for the team. It will be simply for a reserve championship. There's a Haas there in front of him as well. That'll be Emin Asian boy. As there you go, someone's improved that. That's Kovachka up into 5th place there. Great time, a 128.4. The wet conditions suiting the Alpine. But at the moment, we are looking at Vincenzo as he's going to be the last to set a time here from nothing at all. But look at Emin Asian boy, he is ahead. He gets out the way just in time, but I think that might have impeded the Ferrari just a little bit. Not the best place to really let him go. We'll see what the time is, and that was 6th place. I got a bit worried for a second that we were going to see the fastest lap of qualifying, but didn't quite happen. But look at Energetic, he's also going fastest. He's got a bit of slipstream for help, but he's down in Sector 3 by a 10th, so unfortunately has to stay 2nd place, although that's still a good qualifying, all things considered. And there's fresh off a fastest lap there, Kovachka in 5th. 4.5 minutes to go now, and well, Fellow Sun under all sorts of pressure. He's just come off an outlap, he's on fresh intermediates, and he has been magical in qualifying so far. Let's see what he can do as he's now going through the first couple of turns, now approaching Renault. Let's go on board with the McLaren driver. He is currently trying to put his foot down, and you just see him struggling left and right. He's trying to go right, but the car wants to fight him to go left. And at the moment, he's winning that battle, and he's up in Sector 1. So all the pressure now on the drivers behind. And we are now approaching the business end of qualifying. 4 minutes to go. And you are seeing the current pole sitter setting another fastest lap here in the rain as Kratjorg retires in the pit lane. So he hasn't retired on track, but then again, no intervention would come in from race control. Look at how he's struggling with the traction when he gets on the curbs there. He don't want to be doing that too much. You can see him fighting with the car. All sorts of oversteer, as you would expect in these conditions. I don't think we're going to see a dry track, although we are seeing a darker line. There, the rain is still pouring here at the Catalunya circuit. Uphill now, right-hander, medium to slow speed corner there. Got to pick your moment, especially in these conditions. As Energetic to the line, 127.1, and all of a sudden now, Fellow Sun is on the back foot, but he's about to complete a flyer. We are on board with the McLaren driver. We've been through the whole of this lap, and it's not enough. He is now 3rd as Eugene has pipped him for 2nd. Great time from the Spaniard, his home Grand Prix. Of course, But what about the Kickstarters? Both 14th and 15th, so they will double score points if things stay as they are into the race. But I promise you that will not happen on the Aston Martins to the line now. That was Red Dog starting his flyer, as I think it's going to be Race Chase there to the line. That's 5th place for the other McLaren. But at the moment, Energetic now is going to be on pole position if things stay as they are right now. What an upset that would be, considering Pleasant Snake is here as well. Is Pleasant Snake currently on a flyer? Yes, but he's not improving by much. Just under a 10th there, and needing to find just under a second to try and match Energetic's time. Was Sector 1 magical? Because Sector 2 wasn't that much of an improvement here. I wonder if the car is more set up for a dry race rather than a wet qualifying. Let's see what he can do as he goes through the final couple of corners now. And he will be on the... Oh, he is on the start-finish line. So 1:27.6. So that brings him within the fight for pole position. But it still needs to be half a second to find. And that is going to be tricky in these conditions. As there's the Haas there of Emanation Boy. Doesn't want to... Oh, who was that? Yeah, it was Emanation Boy. Because you might not want to do that too much. Just come to a stop at the pit lane exit, as Andrew found out. As Fallowson back to the top there by just under 0.3 of a second. At 1:26.8. Times are coming down as qualifying is drawing to its end. And at the moment now, currently all drivers are going to have to start setting up for their flying laps. They are on the last set of tyres. Eugene on 7-lap intermediates when he set that fastest time. That is incredible. Incredible tyre management there. But now he's surely gonna need to hurry up to get a time on the fresh intermediates in. Lorraine has lightened, but the moisture is very much still on the track. Caution in Sector 1 still. I just want to see, as there's been a moment with a Haas driver. I think Emin has, found the gravel, but I just think that's because he's got faster cars behind him and he's had to try and let them through. I think this might spell the end for Emin's qualifying. Oh, we really need to see how long is left, as Fellow Son has invalidated a time there. Only 49 seconds to go, and Eugene does not have enough time, and I do not think the Spaniard and his home Grand Prix will be qualifying third, as Pleasant Snake to the line now to start a final flying lap. So, a lot of final flyers coming in here from the drivers, as Vincenzo up to third there. So, he's done for the session now. He doesn't have time to cool things down and go again. Who is next? That's, I think, the Alpine of Kovachka there, who just came across the line. No, it isn't. I actually don't know who that is, as Fellowson VR retires from the session now. But there you go. So, Eugene and Fellow Son are finished, as is Crank Jorg. Now, many drivers on flying laps. So I think we've got an Aston Martin as well. That's be Rendog there. He's just going to come to us. Oh! 5-place grid penalty for Sir Ibo for a collision with Emanation Boy. There, and they are both parked up at the final corner. Of course, drivers can still go flat out. Despite the yellow flags, that is allowed in this game. Won't be penalised for it, but I don't know who was at fault there. We didn't catch what happened. We only caught the aftermath. To Branwell's next across the line here. Mercedes driver improving 1.5 tenths in Sector 2. We don't know what the time is for Sector 1. We'll at least catch Sector 3. Final corner for the Mercedes driver. To Bran. Can he make an upset? No, he's 5th place at the moment, and now it's one of the Red Bulls into the pit, so that's no Sebo there. He will qualify 10th as it stands right now, but Truckster also on a flyer, as well as Bruiser. I don't expect Bruiser to improve, but what about Pleasant Snake there? Pole position for Pleasant Snake there when he really needed it. His championship on the line. You would argue tonight needs to be the turnaround, and well, he's got 1 foot in the right direction. Truckster on full wets. What can he do? Only 9th place for him, and well, he's also mixed up in a little bit of a battle for 3rd place. We'll of course go through all of that, but it's Pleasant Snake to the top of the timing boards with a 1:28.2826 there, and that is, I kid you not, half a tenth faster than Fellow Son. Nothing to separate the Mercedes and the McLaren, just like in the constructors. But Pleasant Snake, more importantly, has pole position and could be scoring maximum points here if he puts the race together. But Pleasant Snake there, what a lap at the end there. Fellow Son 2nd, Energetic 3rd, Vincenzo 4th, Eugene 5th in his home Grand Prix. Tabran has to settle for 6th. Rendog 7th in the reserve for the Aston Martin. Race Chase 8th, 9th is Trugster. Kvachka 10th, No Sebo 11th, Toby 12th, Krantjorg 13th, Sir Ribbo 14th, but facing a 5-place grid penalty, so he will go down to last position by default. So that means Skid Solo will be 14th, Bruiser 15th, and Emanasian Boy, who was also involved in that serious collision, will be 16th. So we're going to see if there's been any early reaction. Let's see if there's any early reaction to that incident in the SSRL Discord. But major surprise there. Well, no major surprises as... let's see. Race start will be... well, I hope I get a time there, but let's see. Let's have a look. As okay, yeah, no reaction at the moment. Anyway, at the moment now, Pleasant Stake on pole position. The official qualifying results with Fellow Sun second, Energetic third, with fourth and fifth being rounded out by Vincenzo and Eugene. From 6th to 10th to Bran, Rendog, Race Chase, Trugster and Kvachka. Then from 11th to 15th is No Sebo, Tomy, Krantjorg, Sir Ibo, and then Skid Solo. But of course, Sir Ibo with a 5-place grid penalty, meaning Skid Solo moves up to 14th with Bruiser 15th. And then Emanasian Boy 16th with Sir Ibo now 17th. Oh, for only if I didn't visit the gravel, says Fellow Sun. Oh no, the Hungarian driver is sad. Well, apparently, Emin is saying Fellow Sun made himself and the Salvage driver go into gravel. We didn't see it, unfortunately. Oh, hang on a minute. I've just gotten a thing. Unfortunately, no reverse today. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna... I wasn't gonna call it energetic. Don't worry. I would... let's see. It's something to do when he retired on track. The car might have just dragged him out. The AI might have gone out of the pit lane. I don't know, though. Interesting, though. But it is a dry race here in the Circuit de Catalunya, so we are now going to just take a bit of time, and we will be underway again very shortly. The start time I still do not have. Let's just see. I'll let you know. Who retired on track? I don't know. I don't know what happened. Don't actually quote me. But anyway, we'll be away in 5 minutes. So, come back at about 2 minutes past the hour, and then we'll be right with you for some racing here in Division 2, no reverse grid. Welcome back to Division 2. It is round 7 of Season 6 here in SSRL. We are here in Spain, Circuit de Catalunya. If you have just joined us, you missed an 18-minute fully wet qualifying session where Pleasant Snake took pole on his final flying lap. Dramatic qualifying, to say the least, and dramatic for his championship chances. Remember, Quincy away at a football game. How dare he? And he is, well, not going to be scoring any points tonight, obviously, unless if you can score points by just thinking that you're on track. But, so Pleasant Snake has a chance to reduce the gap by 26 points coming into this evening. It started at 37, so something we'll be keeping an eye on. And, well, here we go. Formation lap will now begin. We will go through your full order. And we'll just then remind you of how qualifying went for the drivers. So, it is going to be Pleasant Snake on pole position, followed by Fellow Sun in second, a reserve driver filling in for Quincy. SSRL Energetic 6 is going to be third, with Vincenzo in fourth place on his return. Bit of a mixed night last night, but hopefully he can recover it tonight. Eugene, the home driver, starts 5th place with Tabran in 6th place. It's Rendog in 7th place, of course, a reserve as well for D2. Race Chase in 8th. Trugster 9th there, battling a few drivers for a few positions in front of him. We'll go through that in just a second. Kovachka in 10th, then it's No Sebo 11th. 12th place is Toby with Frank Jorg in 13th. Skid Solo is in 14th. Bruiser 15th, 16th Elimination Boy. Those three drivers gaining a position because of Sir Ibo getting a 5th-place grid penalty for serious contact with the Haas driver in front of him. So now Pleasant Snake is going to be leading the 16 drivers behind him onto their grid slots. And then we will have lights out and away we go in just a few moments' time. But we need to get through these couple of corners, these few corners first, before that comes to fruition. So now, Pleasant Snake on pole, and with a very important evening ahead of him for his championship bid. Quincy not racing, and then it's the Mystery Grand Prix next weekend, so he will need to really take advantage. And I even made a note and said Pleasant Snake has to be ready to take full advantage of any mistakes in the last 4 races. Well, he can take a really big chunk out of the lead tonight, because it's a race victory technically over a race victory separating him and his championship rival. All 17 drivers are now going to line up. We will just wait for Surebo to get into his grid slot, as Tabran is disqualified for not getting into his grid position correctly. And his tyres will be stone cold at the start. So now we are going to begin the countdown in a few moments' time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Spain, and that is a good start there from Pleasant Snake, and Fellow Sun has to slot him behind to try and defend from Energetic 6 there. There we go, Pleasant Snake currently in the lead, and Fellow Sun has taken advantage of Slipstream, but now, look at Energetic, he's under pressure as now Vincenzo round the outside of Tabran, and there's contact between the two going through the first couple of corners. The rest get away cleanly, lots of side-by-side action there, especially No Sebo and Crankjorg up a couple of positions already, but not able to get past the Red Bull, as now everybody slots in behind for the time being. Truckster down a few positions. He's on hard tyres, so his start will have been compromised. Gets past the Haas of Emin at the very least. But there we go, a lot of drivers suffering. Even Red Dog has had a moment, so must have been a very wide moment going through the first couple of turns. Looking at the tyres everyone is on. Energetic in the top 3, the only one on soft tyres there. The next driver to that is 11th place Grant Jorg there, as they now go through Campsa. Coming down what will be one of the 2 DRS zones here in Catalunya. As, well, here we go through the final couple of corners. That's now Skid Solo and Emanation Boy. Of course, Emanation Boy has a spin for the kick Sauber there, making contact with the Haas driver. They go through the sausage curbs there, but there's also an end plate missing for the Haas driver. Well, I think Soribo would have gone away without damage. As of right now, but here we go. Pleasant Snake with the fastest lap of the race, as he was first across the line on the first lap. But at the moment, the McLaren's having to stay put for now. DRS train will be forming as we now begin lap 2 out of 33. Remember, always half a distance Grand Prix here in SSRL. And of course, 66 laps will be the actual Grand Prix, but We are now seeing Sir Emanation Boy and Sir Ibbo, well, go at it. I think Sir Ibbo's, though, just had a moment. And, of course, these two have made contact in qualifying, which gave Sir Ibbo the 5th-place grid penalty, as now Skid Solo has got past Bruiser, but Bruiser made a mistake through Repsol. So, of course, that means he will lose out to just about everybody behind him. But a lot of action there at the back of the field, as now DRS has been opened. Of course, allowed by race control in these dry conditions. Didn't see it in qualifying due to the wet conditions. So a lot of exploring now happening for the drivers, as they will have had 18 minutes on in those wet conditions and now need to get used to the dry conditions yet again. Does kind of throw you off mentally when you've had a qualifying session like that, and then you just all of a sudden have to readjust your brain for dry braking points. And now it is going to be Fellow Sun with the DRS, and surely now he can make a move. Fellow Sun very quick. World's runner-up last season to Andy Andre there, but contact between the two as he goes around the outside there. Energetic finding a bit of room, but nowhere to go with it, as Tabran now right behind the Racing Bulls driver. Those soft tyres are going to really fall off the cliff sooner than you think, as Energetic now has got... has been got by the Mercedes onto Brand, but Energetic still trying to fight it, as now they go into Sayat, and Energetic loses the rear end of the car, and this might allow Vincenzo through, but not quite. He's just going to have to go side by side. Energetic, though, gives him the place. He knows you really can't go side by side through Worth. And now, Fellow Sun is starting to check out from the Mercedes. 0.8 of a second as of right now. The Mercedes will still have DRS, but it looks like Fellow Sun has just turned on the boosters. As Crank Jorg, has he had a moment? We have a caution. Yeah, he's had a moment. Caution in Sector 2. That's on the exit of turn number 8 there. Oh, don't quite know what happened to him, but Truckster really gaining no positions. He'll be disappointed with this so far. Of course, already has a few podiums to his name this season, and, well, has done well with his track limits discipline, which was, of course, a big contention of his when I first joined. And already, lap 4 out of 33, the soft tyres are done. Energetic into the pits. He'll have the undercut, but he won't be able to do a one-stop, and it would be very unlikely to get that done. So there you go, tyre swap for the Racing Bulls driver, and also for Crank Jorg as well in the background. Hard tyre is the order of the day for the Racing Bulls, and he's now out on track. Pleasant Lake has been able to close down that gap, so Fellow Sun wasn't quite able to check out, as Sir Ibbo and Emanation Boy have had a bit more drama there. Grassy tyres for the Haas driver, as now Bruiser takes advantage of that. These three are certainly having their own little bit of argy-bargy battling. As well, let's give it... Oh my goodness me, Vincenzo has got it wrong out of Kamsa, and he's facing the wrong way out of, where is that, turn number 9. And unfortunately for Vincenzo, he is now out of the top 5, down to 7th place. Has a good gap between himself and what is now Toby, as he's going down the inside of the Red Bull. A lot of action happening thick and fast here. Let's go, Race Chase, let's go, says Quincy there in chat. He is, of course, cheering on his teammate, hoping to get points as now. Pleasant Lake down the inside, but of course, these two sharing DRS, but Velosa will have to be careful of the Mercedes behind. These two currently 1st and 3rd now, and if the things were to stay as they were, it would be a 43-point swing for the Mercedes. And, well, what on earth was that? I thought we were going to have Spain 2016 there when Tabran went all the way to the inside there. I thought Race Chase had gained a dramatic amount of time. As now there's more swapping in the background here, as Energetic has caught up to this pack battling with one another. These two are having a fair share of scraps. That is Bruiser very wide through turn 1 there, not really keeping to the racing line. As well, Energetic there, not even keeping it on the track. What happened to him there? Must have had dirty air, which caused severe understeer. And there was Sir Ibbo trying to make a position on Emanation Boy. And of course, these two had a bit of a coming together in qualifying, apparently due to Fellow Sun, but we didn't quite catch what happened there. So I'm sure that will be taken to the stewards for review. And of course, after what happened last week with all the heat coming off of all the contact in Hungary, it is now going to take an hour for reports to be opened. Toby and Nosebo swapping positions again for 8th place, but here we go. We are going to see Sir Ibbo down the inside, but not close enough as now their Fellow Sun swapping for the lead of the race with Pleasant Lake, but no real surprises there. As, my goodness me, who was that going wide? That was Sir Ibbo there, and surely Energetic can have a go at the Kick-Sauber driver and through the sweepers. Goodness me, that's risky. But it makes it work as though Sebo gets back past Toby as well. Back into 8th place for Energetic, very wide through the final corner. Nearly went on the gravel. That would have been the end of what was a very good qualifying, but now having to recover after going on. Oh my goodness me. Very late defensive move to the right there from Emin. But luckily Energetic was fast enough to react to it. And he gets past for 14th place. But that could have ended a lot worse if Energetic was was not quite as alert as he was. Trugster now up into 9th position. A lot of overtakes happening. More than I can keep up with. But Trugster now starting to recover. There we go. Cerebro and Emanation Boy had a bit more drama there. Have they come together again? I don't think they have. Yellow flag out for the Kick-Sauber that is in the grass. But certainly interesting there. Cerebro looked like he went right out of Sayat. And just had a moment, but Race Chase there being unable to catch. And look at this, Kavachka is now right on the back of the McLaren. Takes the position away. And Kavachka's now up into 4th place. What a reverse of fortunes for him. Considering he was in the top 10 in the totally non-controversial reverse grid last night in Division 1. But the top 3 have checked out from the entire field. And if Kavachka could catch up to this, what a story it would be for the Alpine. Just having a look at the tyres he's on. He's on the medium tyres like everybody else in the top 8. So that's very interesting stuff. But here we go. Trugster has made his way past Toby, but now needs to try and find a way past Sebo here. Of course, the Red Bull really the cork in the bottle. Nearly 8 seconds away from Vincenzo ahead of this. So Vincenzo, remember, down to 7th after that dramatic spin in Campsa, which he's just gone through now without the drama. And now here we go. Surely Trugster's going to line up a move on the exit of turn 9. Bit of dirty air, though, happening as our DRS will open. And that's the Red Bull all the way to the inside initially. But then peels to the right-hand side to take the corner. And I think Trugster's going to have this move done sooner rather than later. Just needs to be careful of tyre wear and how long he stays behind. Because remember, engine temperature will be an influence as Pleasant State goes back to the lead. But at the moment, we are on board with the Williams, so Pleasant State now will take the lead of the Grand Prix. To Brand, just really keeping himself at arm's length. Doesn't really want to try and risk contact with his teammate. Trugster there, very consistent there. 1,000th of his personal best, and he's going to try. Is he going to try anything in turn 1? No, holds back for now. Is he going to try and get a good exit through turns 1 and 2? There will now go on to the exterior cameras. And as they go through Renault, Trugster trying to keep to the inside line so he doesn't get that influence of dirty air, which just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, dirty air is when you're behind the turbulent wake of the car in front. So kind of like turbulence, but think of it rather than going in a roller coaster in an airplane, you're losing grip to your front. So take it through here where it relies on downforce. The car head punching a hole in the air, those parts on the car, as Vincenzo has made another mistake, same corner as well. And that is a position gained for Sebo and Trugster, as now the Aston Martin of Red Dog's going to go down the inside of the Ferrari, but those tyres on the Ferrari are going to be overheating as Toby has a wide moment there. Vincenzo keeps to the inside line. As now Toby loses the position to both of this. Eugene with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Dramatic stuff at the back of the field as there's a yellow flag for a Kick-Sauber. We need to have a look at what Trugster is up to as he now goes to DRS and also gains a position on Eugene's pit stop now, and a 10-second penalty for Eugene's pit stop. And now look at Vincenzo down the inside of the Aston Martin, gets that move done, and he is up back into 8th place there. But the Red Bull definitely struggling with his tyres, of course. Remember, there is going to be a big difference in life between those mediums and hards. So the mediums might be just starting to fall off. It was 8 laps for the mediums to fall off last week. I wonder if it's a bit less this week. But here we go. Energetic 6 is still trying to make up positions after his early pit stop. Hasn't even got ahead of Eugene here, so has to fight him on track for genuine position. And going into Sayat, the Racing Bulls is going to hold the outside line. Eugene will push him off, but those tyres will not be coming into temperature while they are battling. And that is Energetic round the outside of Inworth. Gives the Aston Martin the room, but the Aston Martin does not follow through, as he will have DRS coming into the next straight and then to the start-finish line. Let's have a look at this leading battle. Fellow Son trying to cut off the slipstreaming Mercedes. I think Tabran has also made a pit stop. Oh no! Tabran made a mistake! We didn't see it either! The Mercedes suffer a light casualty. In the grand scheme of things, they can recover this, but now Truckster has yet again got another position. And he's still looking at the back of that Red Bull. He'll be deeply frustrated by that. And he's just trying to keep his composure. Of course, it'll be a very good recovery if he can get a podium from this. Might need a safety car just to influence things just that little bit. But we are going to be approaching a third of the race in a few moments' time. So don't know what happened to Tabran. We'll see if we can find out from his teammate Snake or Fellow Son if they finish on the podium tonight. At the moment, we are looking at the battle for what is 5th place here. No Sebo, the cork in the bottle is Crank Jorg and Bruiser swap positions for what is 15th place. Of course, a Sol paying a 1 point paying position. So remember, top 15 guarantees you points. And here we go. Look at Truckster getting a better exit. Surely it's now or never for the Williams driver, as he should be able to really get a run. He might just have to alternate his line through the last couple of corners so that he doesn't get that dirty air, especially through the final corner. New Holland, I think he's actually judged that to perfection, so let's go. Can he now get it done? It is going to be No Sebo in 5th. And look at that Williams, he is approaching, and there you go, to the inside of turn number 1, side by side for the Williams and Red Bull, and that is the Williams. Oh no, but the Williams has spun! Through turn 1, he loses part of his front wing, both end plates are gone, and he just got a bit too desperate on his throttle, and now loses out on a top 10 finish. No intervention from race control required. That is the end of any result for the Williams driver, as now he's going to have to carry that damage all the way through the lap. It is a short lap, thankfully, for Truckster, but he will be very annoyed with himself. He will be hoping for some sort of intervention from a retiring driver. And, well, preferably not in the pits, hopefully a crash. But even then, if that doesn't bring out any sort of intervention, I don't know what will. Remember, Quincy crashing from the exit of turn 8 caused the one and only safety car in Division 1 last night, as now Pleasant Stake is on the back of Fellow Son again. Fellow Son not really putting up a fight there. And look at Race Chase as well. He's trying to get onto the back of this as they lap Bruiser, who's just come out of the pit lane. So Bruiser now a lap down on the entire field, but of course the top 4 yet to stop, so this may change still. Oh my goodness me, as there's still sorts of fight in the pit lane. I've never seen that before. Goodness me, desperate stuff from the Ferrari there. Side by side in the pit entry between No Sebo and Vincenzo takes the speed limit board with him. That must surely... Is that a penalty? I wonder. Can Quincy confirm that as there's Tabran there going through on both of them? No wonder, considering they were fighting at the pit lane entry there. There was surely no room there, but Vincenzo said, I'm going to find a way. And he did. And it was rather aggressive. But I don't think that'll be looked at too kindly by the stewards. I think, though, Sebo might go and report that. As our Race Chases, well, no, that's Fellow Son there, beg your pardon, trying to find an alternative way not to get into the dirty air. Or maybe he was just trying to fake a dive into the pits there. As now Kovachka stopping to meet the speed limit, as now Fellow Son goes back through into first position. But those two are swapping DRS, so no real surprises there. We are over a third into the race, and already all sorts of drama happening. We've had Vincenzo and No Sebo, and Vincenzo has come out behind No Sebo, and these two might just get feisty when we get to the start-finish straight. Kovachka as well will come out behind the 4 drivers you were looking at there. Was that 4? Yeah, it was about 4, because Kovachka's right on the back of it, and he's on soft tyres as well, so definitely a 2-stop strategy happening here. A lot of drivers on softs for this middle stint. That could be a very inspired decision depending on how this goes. And Vincenzo and No Sebo swapping positions. And that is Vincenzo up at 10th, but that might not stay as it is. I think Toby as well just let his teammate through, and it's going to release him onto Rendog at the front there. And Energetic having a good drive so far, but will probably need to pit again. These hard tyres. He, of course, went on very early on. It's Toby having a moment at the exit of Worth. That means Eugene goes through. Remember, he's got to serve a 10-second penalty at his next pit stop. Oh, my goodness me. Fellow Son comes to a complete stop. What happened? I did not catch what happened. He sees where the pit lane limiter is. And he's missing his front wing as well, for good measure. Oh, no, Fellow Son. And there's Race Chase, a double-stacking disaster for the McLarens. Race Chase will lose all the time in that. And that is sad, sad news, because look at this. Red Dog is about to benefit from both of it. I thought he was going to be in the lead. There's Pleasant Stake taking the lead of the race, thanks to some drama with Fellow Son. And Pleasant Stake now on for all 26 points. Red Dog yet to take a pit stop as Vincenzo takes the fastest lap of the race. And there's Energetic up into second, going into Repsol. Dramatic stuff here in the Spanish Grand Prix. 20 laps to go, and there is still all sorts to be decided as Asian Boy gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And this race, which has taken a dramatic turn or two, Fellow Son missing his end plate there, left-hand side. He's continuing on, brave lad, but he goes very wide there through Campsa. And Red Dog now will surely just let his teammate through. No, but there's Kovacic to the inside of Fellow Son. He gives him the room. Only just, but look at the traction on those soft tyres that the Alpine has. Round the outside through here. That's never happened through Sabadell. But he's going to try and make it work. Has to slot him back for now. But watch this. When he comes out of New Holland, this final right-hander, the Alpine gets a 3-second trial limits penalty. He won't care about that, considering Eugene's 10-second penalty in either his pit stop or post-race. And now Kovacic with DRS. Will the McLaren try to fight a way through? No. And that's a massive lockup from the Alpine regardless. And while the Aston Martin looked like he was about to bump the McLaren, no such thing happened though, as the McLaren finds room despite the loss of downforce from the fact that Fellow Son's end plate has gone missing. Doesn't matter, he has got that all said and done, but the Aston Martin trying to fight back. It is of no use though. Eugene, of course, in this tight section of the track, has to slot in behind for now. And takes it on the chin. Eugene is struggling at the moment, despite this being his home Grand Prix. Hope he would have done better in all reality, but just sadly, it just hasn't quite come together. And it was very pacey in the early seasons of SSRL. Of course, the F123 handling model might have had a part to play in that, as there's Kovacic now trying for third place. Despite that 3-second penalty, he has to now try and get a buffer on the cars behind him. He will get, of course, a second stop, so I imagine he might be doing a medium, soft, medium, as there's Fellow Son now into the pits. And I think he's realised now his front wing end plate has indeed gone missing, and he's going to come in to repair that. And if there's a safety car any moment now, he will have timed that rather poorly. Oh, because I was too sick to get the McLaren. Hello, Rolly, how are you doing? Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Well, obviously it doesn't sound like you are. I hope you get better soon. But here we go. Vincenzo has left No Sebo behind there, but of course he's in a bit of trouble, potentially because of overtaking on the pit lane entry, as there's a yellow flag there in Sector 1. Who is that for? That's a Red Bull. That's Bruiser. Has he had a moment? No, he's just getting out of the way of faster. Oh, goodness me! And Bruiser nearly crashed into Race Chase there. The two Americans would have made contact, but Bruiser saw him coming at the last minute and gets out the way. And that is just about the whole field lapping him, as our Fellow Son finds 10th place there on his fresher hard tyres. So he'll go to the end on those hard tyres. He's made his second stop of the race. And Fellow Son now is on a charge. What is his delta to the leader? That is at about 30 seconds. So if Pleasant Stake was going to think about covering him off, well, he has done, because of course that's the second stop. But how did the undercut does that give Fellow Son advantage? That is Bruiser getting rather generously out the way. And well, he's about to go 2 laps down if you... or is he? No, he's not going to go 2 laps down. That's silly. As there's now an Alpine that's had a moment. It's Kovacic. No, not Kovacic. Who's had that moment? Is that a Williams? Is that a Trugster? It is. He's missing an end plate for good measure as well. So something's happened to Trugster. But anyway, sorry about that. I brought up the wrong delta. Beg your pardon. Shouldn't be fastest lap. There you go. It should be interval And there you go. So Energetic losing touch to the leader now, but that is because of the fact Energetic has 10 lap older hards there, as there's now a lot of drivers making a mistake on the exit of turn 9 there. That's, of course, Campsa there. We saw Vincenzo make a couple of mistakes there. He's running in 7th as of right now. But look at Kvachka. He's making those soft tyres work rather nicely. How old are they? 4 laps. And look at the runs he can get on that old hard tyre. Thanks for hearing your comments. Oh, that's very kind of you, Rolly. I really do hope you get better soon and we see you back on track. As now the Aston Martin's going side by side. Eugene in his home race overtakes the British driver of Rendog. As now, who is that into the pits? That might be, I think that is Kvachka. No, it's not Kvachka, so it might be one of the lap vehicles. That's Kvachka through to 2nd place, though. And now has Pleasant Snake in front of him. Yeah, it was Rendog into the pits, actually. So Rendog, I think, is making his first stop. Yeah, after 17 lap old hard tyres, he is now going to go on to a fresh set of mediums. And that should just about get him to the end of the race. It will be very tight, so might need to take a few laps just to look after them and bring them up to temperature slowly. But those... Sure, as long as you know how to look after the tyres, that'll get you through to the end of the race, no problem at all. And thanks to that pit stop, Fellow Sun up to 9th place there on a very big recovery after losing his front wing end plate on his, well, coming in for his first pit stop there. What went wrong? Oh no, I don't know what happened to Fellow Sun, to be honest with you. I saw the aftermath where Pleasant Snake had the lead, and, well, Fellow Sun has been forced into a 2-stop there, as now that is Bruiser getting out of the way. Oh, Fellow Sun, so I think Bruiser is now 2 laps down in rather quick succession. And now Energetic is trying to fight for the back as... Who? As Tabran had a moment. That's race Fellow Sun with a moment. There, right on the gravel. Was he trying to avoid something there? Yes, that was Bruiser. That was Bruiser right there. So I wonder if something happened there, because he's just lost 2.5 seconds to Tabran in front there. As there's no Sebo again. Of course, him and Vincenzo had a moment on... Oh, yeah, Quincy, I have a question for you. Overtaking on the pit lane entry, legal or nah? If you can answer me that very quickly. But currently, the battle for second is hotting up again. Energetics, hards now, well, have outdone the softs there, as there's... That is Truckster being lapped there. Oh, that is so sad to see. Truckster, who of course qualified in 9th. When it says Estral, Estral? Depends it. There was a bit of banging here and there. There was a bit of banging. You can have a look for yourself. I will happily send you the time codes over once the broadcast is done. You have a look for yourself, but let's put it this way. He took out the pit lane speed board. As you can see there, it has completely gone. So I'll leave you to be the judge of that one. As we now are looking at Race Chase. We'll now go up into 4th place, but of course he doesn't need to overtake Eugene because, well, simply put, Eugene has that post-race penalty. If Barcelona is basically Estral but worse, I think Barcelona's an alright track. I don't think it's that bad. To Brown now with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, teammates of both McLaren and Mercedes, and they were the reserve drivers, have... Well, I don't think Tabran's a reserve, actually. It's alright, but Estral is alright. That's one way of saying it. Oh, here we go. Quincy, you were talking about Haas domination. Legal except taking out the meter boards. Yeah, fair. Quincy was thinking of you the other day. Oh, it was because Friday Haas won and you missed it. I know. We couldn't believe it. There was Haas domination and you missed it. We couldn't believe it. We thought of you and we missed you on Friday night. But anyway, enough about Friday night. Let's focus on Tuesday night. 4th place is Race Chase. Still trying to find a way through. Eugene here, the Spaniard. But no luck so far. But not been a home race to remember for the Aston Martin driver. So we have now a caution sector 1. Lots of battling happening at the front there. I think that was Emin losing a front wing end plate again. As Race Chase getting 4 tenths closer for the battle for third. But remember Eugene's penalty there, as now things are starting to quieten down compared to last night, where just everything, when somebody, Shaggy, went bowling for Scooby-Doo snacks. Didn't find any, though. He just found himself with potentially a post-race penalty to come. And, well, yeah, no, I've been looking at the stewards report since last night. And, yeah, oh, there's a Haas driver in the wall. That'll be Asian Boy pointing the wrong way out of turn 8. There's a Ferrari incoming. Is that Crank there? No, it is not. That is Vincenzo there overtaking us. Oh, no, this could go badly wrong. And it does not. Goodness me, that gave me a bit of a scare. Okay, anyway, so we will now see, well, the sister teams of Red Bulls fighting one another in a few moments' time. It is going to be Energetic on soft to medium tyres, 1.7 seconds away, as now Race Chase is catching up to the back of Eugene, who is now going to serve his pit stop, and a 10-second penalty on top of all of that. He will, well, come out probably near enough. 9th place there between Fellow Sun and Rendog, and Fellow Sun trying to reduce that gap to what will be No Sebo there. About 5 seconds there as Rendog very wide through the final corner. And there you go, get 7th place there. Will Fellow Sun have DRS? No, it wasn't close enough there to Emin to benefit from it as they go. Emin gets out the way of both the McLaren and the Aston Martin, and racing will resume between them unimpeded, which is the most important thing. I swear, No Sebo went into the pits there. Yeah, no, that's why I was like, huh? Vincenzo, though, on 10-lap old softs, that would explain some of his mistakes that have been creeping in, as though Energetic is catching up to the back of this. Could it be on for the race victory here? Anything can happen here in this SSRL Division League, although I do think he is a bit too far back to try and benefit from it. Well, he'll catch up to, I think he'll catch up to 2nd place at the very least, but Pleasant Stake is going to, at the moment, take full points away from this evening. Now, 1 point is awarded for fastest lap here in SSRL, so I do apologise if I've missed out that piece of information before and I've misinformed you. I thought there was no fastest lap, but extra point, as now Vincenzo has a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that gives Energetic 6 a free position without having to fight, and he is now 22 seconds away from the leader, and who does not have to stop again. I do not think. I think Snake's got this win in the bag. Unless if a safety car was to come out, then that might cause a bit of discomfort, as well as Kvachka. Kvachka having a great race so far and is outside the 3-second window for Race Chase to benefit from him. So Kvachka here could be on for a big upset here. And what a story this would be for the I think is he Hungarian? I don't know. Please correct me if I am wrong. As well, we're still seeing Fellow Sun and Rendog being the closest battle on track, but now caution sector 3 for Bruiser, trying to get out of the way of faster moving vehicles. Rendog still trying to catch up to all this. No Sebo has caught up to Eugene. Of course, understandable considering, well, both are on a 1-lap fresh tyres, but that is softs versus hards, so no real surprise that No Sebo has caught up to that, as Asian Boy being very generous, slowing down. And, well, we will continue on. Brief yellow flag for the slow-moving vehicle, and 10 laps to go here in Spain. Pleasant Stake is surely only a few laps away from securing this win. 10 seconds between him and Race Chase, and that is the Constructors' Championship there in your frame. At the moment, it looks like Pleasant Stake will at least draw a 5-point gap. So remember, going into tonight, it was a 4-point gap between Mercedes and McLaren, as Mercedes... No, actually, sorry, I've got to consider Tabran. He is a full-time driver here, so that is a 5-point gain for 11th, if that is to stay as it is. But now, Eugene and No Sebo are just going to have a quick fight. Let's just have a look at this very quickly, just while I'm calculating that. So, Pleasant Stake P1... And then Tabran P11, if that is to stay as it is. That is a 31-point gain. 31 points for Mercedes. Race Chase second, 21. So that's actually a 10-point gain for the Mercedes team. That will be a 14-point gap going into the Mystery Grand Prix next weekend. Next week, beg your pardon. And then we'll take it from there. But at the moment, Kvachka is now fighting with fellow Sun. And, well, would you look at this? Another set of soft tyres. I didn't expect this from the Alpine, but I will commend his creativity. Kvachka now is gaining on the McLaren down the inside. He is only a reserve, but fellow Sun will lose 4th place for now. He needs to keep it within that 3 seconds of Kvachka, and now Kvachka could be on for an upset here. Podium, he's got 9 laps and 7.2 seconds to try and catch up to the back of Energetic, who is on 5-lap mediums, so I do think the crossover point will happen in a few laps' time, as Energetic should come out the faster driver. But Race Chase has just not had any response for the Mercedes of Pleasant Snake here. And of course, Tabran as well might even catch up. But then again, 10-second penalty as well, but won't lose out to Skid Solo, 17. So I think that is safe to assume that is going to stay as it is. So it's going to be 31 points going the way of Mercedes, 21 points going the way of McLaren. And of course, if any of the McLarens try and pit, well, it's got to be Race Chase, because remember, the reserve cannot bring home any constructors' points, so fellow Sun's points will not be counted towards the constructors' total. We now cut to the battle for what is 9th place, as Kvachka takes fastest lap of the race, so bonus point will go to him as things stand right now. And he is catching up to the back of Energetic, 6.9 seconds, separating the Alpine and the Racing Bulls driver. But now, taking our attention is well, there is another battle happening as well. Vincenzo with his 10 seconds. That will be now post-race for Speedy in the pit lane. This won't matter, and needs to find 10 seconds in what is 8 laps here. But here we go. Eugene and Nosebo going to try and do a fight. And if any safety car was going to happen, you would think it would be between these two. The harder tyre is going to be on its crossover with the softs. Those softs do not last long at all. It's only been 4 laps, but that is enough for the softs just to kind of end their life, not literally, of course, and it will be certainly an interesting final few laps for the Red Bull driver. Tabran cannot really benefit from this. There just simply isn't enough time in the race. 7 laps to go, and then a 10-second penalty to overhaul, along with a 6-second gap. I just don't see that happening for the Mercedes driver, so he will have to settle for a 5-point swing for now. But of course, with his teammate really coming up trumps here, his teammate is also going to be 11 points to Quincy. And well, Quincy missing this evening thanks to a football game. I'm not gonna let that go, chat. Don't you worry about that. I'm not gonna let him go that he chose a football game over a league. Wow. Imagine having multiple interests, chat. Just imagine. But anyway, ODRS opening for Eugene, and he is going to surely make a move on Nosebo, and that is 9th place there for the Aston Martin of Eugene there in his home Grand Prix. Unfortunately, hasn't been one to remember due to an earlier penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but he will at least get past into the top 10 and will try and use the remaining 7 laps to catch up to the Racing Bulls of Toby. And well, let's just see the tyre life. Well, 6 laps or younger tyres than the Racing Bulls in front. This should be easy stuff for Eugene. Anyway, boo, says Rolly. I say, let's have an Asian boy and Sorebo. These two made contact earlier on in qualifying, which got Sorebo a 5-place grid penalty. Now, Kick Sauber again will be scoring double points as Bruiser is getting out of the way for lap traffic. That's why there's a caution out in Sector 3. But if these two make contact again at this point of the race, there will be a safety car. So just might want to watch it with the contact. If that is Sorebo gets alongside. At the moment, as things stand, it doesn't really matter because, well, thanks to Emmons' 13-second penalty and Sorebo keeping it on the track, well, double points for Kick Sauber. But not really going to gain anything, I don't think, anyway. And, well, you look at Kvachka as well. What a drive from him. 4th place at the moment, up 6 positions on those soft tyres, has made them work, and is nearly over that 3-second gap to fellow Sun there. So this has been one heck of a great Grand Prix for Kvachka. Used to, well, of course, remember last season, his habit was to qualify outside the top 10 and then finish right within it. And he made a rather good habit of that. and certainly was one of my drivers that just flew under the radar in terms of everybody else, and was certainly, I think, a little underappreciated more than anything. But still, we're gonna see. Look, have a look at this battle, because, well, this could really decide if there's a safety car or not, because, like I said last lap, these two made contact in qualifying. That gave Sir Ibo a 5th-place grid penalty, as Sir Ibo struggling to control that kick Sauber. Of course, remember, Andy is making it work in Division 1 somehow, and I don't know how, to be honest with you, because he is making... He is just magical. Currently 21 points ahead of Robastion, as there's the Haas going wide. So now the kick Sauber will go side by side with the Haas and get that move done. And that is now done on track. And while we were watching that, No Sebo gets back past Eugene for 9th place. So these two are going to be trading and swapping DRS for the rest of the race. 5 laps to go as of right now. And we are now seeing Toby lap. Who is that? That is Skid Solar and Crank Jorg there, having a little battle of their own. What is what to see before I do will be Ibo doing a late dive and causing an SC Wild Tree. Are you trying to insinuate Abu Dhabi 2021 here, Rolly? Is this what you are trying to get at? I'm just wondering. Question to you, Rolly. But anyway, at the moment we are seeing Crank Jorg now get right onto the back of the kick cell, but that's going to be the inside line, and that is 12th place for Crank Jorg, you would think. Let's go on board with the Ferrari driver. He gets the run, and there's contact between the kick Sauber and the Ferrari. Remember, those two share the same engine, and the Ferrari, there's been a spin. Vincenzo through the final corner. Luckily for everybody, no safety car deployed, but Vincenzo losing positions in the thick of that. And, well, it's, going to be heart and mouth stuff for the final. Well, once we get on to lap 31, there is no way a safety car can be deployed, just so you know. Or else, so Pleasant's sake really needs to just get to the start-finish line, and then he will be okay. Because then virtual race control will just sort of let the drivers continue to race without any intervention. As now Pleasant's sake is approaching the start-finish line. There we go. We cannot have any more safety cars as Vincenzo has retired. Oh, Vincenzo has crashed. But luckily, it was just before. It was just after the Mercedes got to the line, so no safety car required, no intervention from race control, and on lap 31 out of 33, Vincenzo. Oh, has he retired on track? Has he retired on track, actually? Let's have a quick look. Well, one of the kick Saubers is going to give us the verdict. Where is he? Ah, he disappeared before we could see. It's never Latifi. He's the goat of being safe. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay then, as you wish. But I wonder if Vincenzo retired on track there. I didn't quite see. I didn't quite get enough of a look at the Ferrari as he leaves the session. I don't think he retired on track, though. I think that would be very unlikely. But then again, his red dot did move. Somebody might want to have a look into that. I don't know, though. But here we go. Trugster, who's had a really miserable Grand Prix this evening. 9th place in qualifying. Would have hoped for better as he's within the top 5 in the championship. Just to give you an idea, Trugster, 66 points coming into this. 6 points behind Race Chase. And Race Chase now is going to have an emphatic gap on Trugster. And Trugster will just get another point. 12th place there. That gives you 4 points. Too big of a gap, though, to Tabran. As now Tabran is starting to catch up to the back of Eugene and No Sebo. Those two are having a great fight. It's second to the last lap now. And Eugene looks to be one fighting with the Red Bull. As now lap 32 out of 33 has begun for Pleasant Stake. So that means for... Who is that? I'm just trying to gather my bearings here. Yeah, Eugene, No Sebo, they'll be starting lap 32. So they're currently on lap 31 as things stand right now. And Eugene is just trying to fight for an extra place here. He's got DRS open. Into turn 1 he goes to begin the second penultimate lap of this Grand Prix for them. But also, what I'll keep an eye out is Energetic 6, 1.7 seconds away from Race Chase. And this could be a massive upset for the McLaren. If they lose extra points here, it would be a 4-point deficit. Can Energetic ruin the McLaren's day? There's a kick Sauber that's gone off. At the corner we are approaching, and Race Chase Is he going to be held up here? No. Oh, but there's an Asian boy. That's the one place where I didn't want to catch him. Through the corner of New Holland. Well, Asian boy luckily got enough of a gap, and I think he will let the McLaren through as we now begin the final lap. And Pleasant Snake has been simply untouchable. Vincenzo goes down to last position. Bruiser there now taking 16th, but not a points-paying position, remember. But Pleasant Snake above the best of the rest here, as now we really also need to see how this battle comes out. But as we see here, Pleasant Snake is now going to reduce the gap from 37 points to 11, meaning that the final 3 races will be shared between Quincy and Pleasant Snake for the championship. This is going to be an exciting few races as now Eugene makes a move down the inside. Who's got the better traction out the corner? It's going to be No Sebo for now, but we also need to cut to Pleasant Snake at some point as well. Currently no Sebo trying to defend from Eugene. Eugene's trying to go around the inside on the outside. No dice for now. Pushing him along. And Pleasant Snake is going through the final couple of corners. And no Sebo defends for now as Eugene gets desperate on the throttle. But there we go. Pleasant Snake to the line. He wins in Spain. And the championship gap goes down to 11 points with Race Chase just hanging on to second there. So that means a little less damage done in the constructors. But now has Eugene and No Sebo set that battle? Not just yet, but one last DRS zone. No Sebo straight to the inside as fellow son benefits from Kovachka's 3-second penalty. So that's 4th place, but no constructors points. But Eugene wide at the last. And that, unfortunately, for the Aston Martin means he will not have 8th place. And Toby now will come home. A great result for the RB, all things considered. Up 5 positions and 7th place for him. But wait a minute, look at Eugene now on the line, but no dice, unfortunately. And now Tabran will get a 10-second penalty, but he also, because of Vincenzo retiring, he now gets 10th. So that means 32 points for the Mercedes, so now a 15-point gap between the constructors. Pleasant Snake wins in Spain, of course, so he decreases the lead from 37 to 11 points. Race Chase second, SSRL Energetic third. These 3 will be joining us for the post-race interviews as now Grant Jorg and Truckster come across the line there. Come home in the final couple of positions that were yet to be decided, but Truckster will be very unhappy with that. I think it's been rather good all season. Tonight doesn't really a good reflection, but there's the Mercedes of Snake on the top step. Mercedes of Race Chase settled for second, but Energetic could have had him, but had to settle for third for now. And you just think, what might have happened if Quincy had been here all that time? Well, he's going to have to suffer the consequences of that. 11 points, remember, separating the top 2, as now we will confirm. Well, nobody got cleanest driver. Oh, dear. So I don't know who's getting driver of the day on that one. But driver of the day going to Kovachka, and I think that is deserved despite his 3-second penalty. Still a top 5 finish for the Alpine driver. And now we go on to the unofficial results. Pleasant Snake takes the win. Race Chase second, Energetic third, and there was not a lot to separate them at the line. 0.6 of a second just over, as Fellow Sons has to settle for 4th after Kovachka's 3-second penalty. And actually, Kovachka starting 10th, so 5 positions. Then the rest of the top 10 is Rendog, Toby, No Sebo, Eugene, and Tabran, with 11th to 15th being Truckster, Crankjog, Skid Solo, Sorobo, and Asian Boy, with 16th being Bruiser, and your only non-finisher in the race, Vincenzo, 17th. Cheers, Dave, for the stream. Good game all. Now, we are going to have a post-race interview with our top 3 in just a few moments' time. 2 of the top 3 are there. We're just now waiting for... second again. Race Chase, that was it. There we go. Okay, so let's see when all are joined. But I think more importantly, we are going to have a very exciting championship towards the end of the season. with the fact that Quincy did not attend this evening, and with the fact that Pleasant Stake has now won, didn't take fastest lap though, so this is on the extra point. That will go to Kvachka, thanks to his fastest lap. But what's really going to excite me and Herman when he comes back into the comms box next week for the Mystery Grand Prix is the fact that 11 points now separate the top two. And that might have been a big mistake, as now we don't have Race Chaser here. That's for sure. At the moment, we're still waiting for him, but I think we're going to have to just continue as we are. Hopefully he'll join in good time. So, well, first and foremost, without further ado, congratulations on what was a very good win. It is Pleasant Stake. How did that feel? You looked untouchable out there.
That felt good, I must say. I was in the start. I was Felsen was giving me quite a fight there, but I'm not sure if you saw him crash into the pit, but he crashed into the pit entry. I thought he was good. I thought I was gonna DNF myself, but his car was ghosted, so it was fine. But after the pit stop, it was quite smooth sailing, I would say. It was. I was just trying to find a pace and just keep it, push a bit more, some laps, and just do it. But yeah, it was a good race. I'm happy.
And this means, of course, as well, with Quincy not attending and you taking maximum points from the evening, from 37 points to an 11-point gap, championship's on, isn't it? 3 races to go.
Yeah, championship is definitely on again. So yeah, that's exciting. I'm not sure if he's also gonna miss one more race, if I heard correctly. But it's gonna be a close fight, I think. Anyways, so if I remember correct, it's coming up some good tracks as well, some fun tracks. So it will be a good end of the season, hopefully.
Now, of course, I do just want to move on to your strategy. It wasn't anything like yesterday's race, where really, thanks to the one safety car that was brought out, we didn't really have anything going on. In terms of strategy, what was kind of the call? I saw drivers go for 2 stops, like Kvachka, who then ended up in 5th place. But yourself, you just went for the 1 stop, and of course, thanks to Fellowson having the contact, he was kind of forced in, well, having the crash in the pit lane, he was forced onto a 2 stop. Was that always the plan, or was that just kind of played out by ear?
Yeah, that was always my plan. I was gonna pit 1 lap later, but since I was behind Felsen and I saw him pitted, I just went in myself. Didn't want him to have a gap of 3-4 seconds after 1 lap on fresh tires.
And then, of course, we move on to the Mystery Grand Prix next week. What would be your preferred track in that selection if you could have the choice?
Ooh, I can't even remember which tracks it's in there. But I think it's a lot of exciting tracks. But I wish Jeddah was in there, because I missed it, but I really like it, but it's not in there since we already had it. But I'm not sure which tracks. Mexico, maybe? That's a fun track. So, we'll see. Or Monaco. It's gonna be chaos. That would be a bit fun, actually.
I was just thinking about Monaco, but I don't know if that's in there. Well, look, Snake, congratulations on your win tonight. You've brought down the championship to a very exciting gap. We will look forward to the final 3 rounds between you and Quincy and see who comes out on top for Season 6. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on, Race Chase still hasn't joined us, but what we're going to do is move on to 3rd place Energetic. Congratulations on what was a very close battle for second right at the end there, but 0.6 of a second was just about how you missed out. Of course, you were one of the few that was on the 2 stop. You went onto the soft tyres. then had to pit after 4 laps onto the hards, and I think you took mediums at the end there. If I've got any of that wrong, do correct me. But that strategy looked to have almost worked for you. What kind of was missing in those 6/10 at the end?
A one stop that was missing. I was planning to do a one stop, but that was the alternate strategy in the choice. And I forgot to pick that one, so yeah, it was an unfortunate 2-stop for me.
It still kind of worked out for you. I mean, you were kind of catching up to Race Chase at the end there, but you just didn't quite have it. I mean, obviously it was just an accident. You went on the 2-stop, but like, you know, seeing you throughout the season, it does look like you've been learning as you've been going, and like, you know, just learning the handling of the game. Do you feel like you could potentially go on for a championship charge next season?
Maybe next season, yes, but this season I don't think so. Next season, I think I have the better of it. But I'm just trying to be consistent every race, and this race I tried to do the most. And until 6 laps to go, I was seeing catch Race Chase a little bit, but knowing him a little bit, he was cruising to the end. He's good at that. He's like catching the car behind and staying in front. He's really good at that. And at the first stint on my mediums, I was trying to remain the gap to Kovachka because he was quick today.
And of course, now going in, of course, Racing Bulls for the constructors started in 3rd place. Of course, I don't think your team is going to be able to catch up with the fact that there's so many points and so few races remaining. But of course, you've also got the gap to Williams. Now, Trugster, of course, finishing way farther back than yourself and your teammate Toby. Are you looking at the constructors at all and just holding on to that 3rd place, or has that just been something you've only just learnt about as I've asked?
I just learned about 3rd place is good. You know, getting the Racing Bulls on the list. I like the car. It likes how it handles, and yeah, what I said, just trying to get consistency.
Absolutely, and of course, for the Mystery Grand Prix next week, I've asked every single driver of this over the past couple of days, but what would be the dream track for you for next week?
The dream track would be Singapore, because I really love that, or Jeddah, or Monaco. I really like street circuits. I don't know, just the vibe. If you're in the rhythm, it feels really great.
Energetic. Thank you so much for taking my questions tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations again on 3rd place. Fortunate about the strategy, but it did kind of work out for you in the end.
True. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And with that, we wrap up. Unfortunately, Race Chase did not join us in the post-interview box, so we will not be able to chat to him. But of course, congratulations to him on his P2, but a massive deficit to McLaren now. So now it is going to be, as soon as I do my calculations, so an 11-point deficit now. So 15 points is the gap in the constructors. And of course, once Quincy comes back for the Mystery Grand Prix next week, I'm sure that battle will be resuming in a very, very spicy fashion, I am sure. But now, 11 points in the Drivers' Championship, 15 points in the Constructors' Championship, and there's all to play for in the final 3 rounds. Now, of course, it is the Mystery Grand Prix, like I have said on many occasions in this Grand Prix, and, well, you'll find out what that is when the stream starts, so I won't know what it is until it is picked as well, so I don't know, and I don't know where it's going to be. Couldn't give you a clue. But anyway, chat, from wherever you may be in the world, we wish you all here at SSRL a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. From myself, the admins, the drivers, and the stewards, we all thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you next week for what should be an interesting couple of evenings. Monday and Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. BST for the Mystery Grand Prix. Until next week, bye for now.